Okay, so tonight, hold on a second. So tonight we start with shniyas, right? Which is the second level of meaning the second generation of arayos. But before that, we just have to do a little Gemara before that. Okay, so let's see on the bottom of Chafam base. So Itmar, yeah, 2 lines up from the bottom. Itmar, bias kohen gadol ba'amana. So if a kohen gadol was, a kohen gadol is not allowed to do yibum, obviously, because she's not a basula. So, but what happens if he did do it? So Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar. So Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Lazar. Chad Amar ein piteres tzarasa. It doesn't pater the tzara. Meaning, so this fellow who died has 2 wives, right? So he's the kohen gadol is not supposed to do yibum. Normally the halacha is that when you do yibum to one, then the other one doesn't need yibum, right? You only do yibum to one wife. So let's say kohen gadol illegally did yibum to one. So he wasn't allowed to do it, right? But to Lamais, it's only an assur lav. So does that mean that the other almana, does she potter or does she still need chalitza? Right? So chadamar ein piteres tzarasa. It does not make her potter, and she's going to need chalitza. The chadamar piteres tzarasa. It does make her potter. Now on Midalife. So be'almana min anasuin. When she's an almana from marriage, meaning she was both married and she wasn't a basula, so kuli amalei pligi delay potter. Then for sure he doesn't pater the other wife. Why? The ein essay doicha loisaseh v'aseh. A mitzvah aseh is not doicha loisaseh and aseh. We said that an almana from the suin is both an aseh and a loisaseh. Right? There's a mitzvah aseh that he should marry a basula, and there's a loisaseh not to marry somebody who was married. Right? So therefore, since it's totally assur, there was no tzad that the yibum should work. So therefore, it's as if he didn't do yibum, and the tzara is going to need chalitza. But the machlokes is when she's an almana just from the engagement. The one who says potter says it's aseh doicha loisaseh. Right? Even though be'etzem we don't say it, but if he did it, it's an aseh that's doicha loisaseh. So therefore, it would work. And the memela, the co-wife, the tzara, is going to not need chalitza. So asay does not come to push off a loisaseh, even to efshe b'chalitza, since it is possible to do it with chalitza, like we said yesterday. There is the possibility. We're only going to say essays doicha loisaseh when there's no possibility of doing it any other way. But here, since there's a possibility of doing it with chalitza, so there's no reason why we have to come on to essay doicha loisaseh.
But he did the ma'aseh yibum.
Right. So the question
he's going to get an einish for it. So you can't say he didn't do the ma'aseh.
Right. But benegeya to the other wife do we look at it that at least he did some sort of ma'aseh, or do we say not? Right.
Okay.
So that's what we say. It's benegeya to the other wife. Right? Is it looked at like the co-wife, the tzara had yibum? So all the other wives are potter, or we say not. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. So that's the machlokes. So the Gemara asks, Meisvei ve'im ba'alu kanu. We said that if they did bia, then they are kaina. So if they're kaina, so therefore, if it's taka, the wife is considered the wife, that means the tzara is going to doesn't need chalitza. So tiyufta. And it's a kasha on the one on the shita that says that the tzara is not going to work, and we say that it does work, and that's all. So then we want to ask, yeah.
Excuse me, I don't know how to phrase it. Somebody shoots somebody.
Yeah.
But there was no yibum and assur, so he doesn't get Mrs. Besden, so he has to pay the guy for the shirt now. We always say he doesn't have to pay for the shirt because he killed him. But if he doesn't get the einish, then he has to pay him for the shirt.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so it should be so.
Yeah. So why? So you're saying so here he did something wrong.
Yeah, but he did the meiser. He did the meiser. Just this lady happens to be he happens to be a kohen gadol, but he did the meiser bia. He did the meiser yibum, and he's getting punished for that. That's why we know he did it.
Right, but the meiser, is it going to potter? Is it going to potter? That's the shot. So Gemara is thinking Anachanami, it will pater because Lamaisa he did it. Someone says Lema Teavi Tiyufta Nami the Reish Lakish. So why don't we say this the Kashan Reish Lakish too, right? Because we said that when there's Chalitza, we're not going to say Esed Doichaloisa, right? So why don't we say that this that we're saying that the yibum does work? So why don't we say that it does? So Amar Lach Reish Lakish. So Reish Lakish says a Yesodistic answer. Amar Lach Reish Lakish Ki Amina Ana. When did I say that you should rather do Chalitza? Heichad and Mekaimi mitzvah. That's when you're getting a mitzvah by doing the Chalitza. Right? So when you get a mitzvah by doing the Chalitza, so then we want you to do Chalitza. Aval Hacha, right? Chalitza b'makam yibum la mitzvah. To do chalitza b'makam yibum is not a mitzvah, right? Meaning, so what is he saying here? He's saying, so Reish Lakish had said, whenever you have a situation of an essay doicha loisase, right? We'd rather, and there's a way to do both without pushing off the loisase, and you do it. So you do that by doing chalitza, that takes care of it, right? But Reish Lakish is saying that's only where you're accomplishing something by doing the chalitza. But if you're not accomplishing anything by doing the chalitza, then we would much rather you do yibum, right? Meaning, so you would rather, if you're just going to have, you would still rather have yibum than chalitza, right? Meaning when there's no other way to do the mitzvah and chalitza won't work, so then not chalitza won't work, but there's no other way out of it, then of course we'd rather you do yibum, right? Chalitza is a b'diavad type of thing. Don't think that because we're saying that when there's another lav there, like a kohen gadol to an almana, so just like they were telling you to do chalitza, so then in a regular case of yibum, we would also rather you do chalitza. No, Reish Lakish is saying no. We much rather you do yibum, and that's it. Yibum is the priority. Yeah. So then that brings us in the practical is, let's say the woman says, or let's say the woman can't have kids, right? Let's say the woman can't have kids. Let's say she's too old already, right? Like I had this with my great aunt, right? She was too old. I mean, she wasn't too old. She wasn't having kids anymore. She was in her 70s. Right. So is there a point in doing yibum? Is there a point in doing chalitza? Right? Is there a mitzvah to do chalitza? Or is there a chiv?
Yes, is there a chiv to do?
A, is there a chiv? B, meaning when is chalitza?
Why? Let's say she couldn't have children. Is there a mitzvah to do?
That's exactly the shaila. Is there inyan to do chalitza, or if you can't do yibum, then you do chalitza?
There's a mitzvah yibum.
Right. So where does chalitza come in? Is chalitza? That's the shaila. Is chalitza where you can't do yibum, or is there a separate mitzvah? You're still getting a mitzvah when you do chalitza. Right. The nafkamina being an elderly lady who can't have kids anymore. Right. So is there a point in doing the chalitza, or what's the point? Right. So that's the shaila. That is the shaila from. So the way Reish Lakish seems to be saying it now is chalitza b'makam yibum is not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. right? So it doesn't sound like there's any individual mitzvah to do chalitza. Okay, well, either yeah or no, but that's part of the shaila that comes out. Fine.
But we do chalitza, right? In that
When?
case, elderly woman.
I would the psak that Rav Bik had told us is don't only if she brings it up. If she doesn't bring it up, then don't mention it. That was the Rav Bik.
I think they did chalitza in my end.
They did chalitza Mayim because some wise guy nephew of hers brought it up to her and said, "Oh, you need chalitza, you need chalitza." So okay, so there we go.
Yeah,
so
this is the second time you're calling them out, man. This is the second time.
It wasn't. I'm not. That's not. Hello, it's not who you think it is.
Peretz, it wasn't that nephew that time, Peretz.
It was not that nephew, Peretz.
It was one of the Gera nephews.
Whatever the
Correct.
nephew is, you're still calling him out for the second time.
Yes, I'm calling him out because I'm still angry about it. The lady, I tell you, was one of the most painful experiences that I ever saw in my life.
Peretz thought it was Tati.
Yeah. No, it was nobody directly related to anybody on this stuff, as far as I know.
Right. They make a good pizza, though.
Aaron, I have a good story. I can't say it in front of the whole shir.
Okay, stay tuned for the bloopers after. Anyway, so, but, yeah, okay, Sean, fine. Okay, so that's the end of that sugi. Now we're on to shnius, okay? Everybody fasten your seatbelts because we get, if you think that first level arayos can be something like second level arayos can really be fun. So Amar Rava, Remez, so we said that there's such a thing as shnius. So shnius is basically the second level of arayos, meaning it's derabanan, with a chachamim assured another, what's not level, what's the word? Another generation, I guess. That's the way it would be. Another generation, meaning, now Gershon logs on for this. Okay, right? So,
I'm keeping him busy, Tzyaakov. I'm keeping him busy.
I hear you. Okay, Gershon, I was wondering how we're going to do shnius without you over here. Fine. So,
Yeah, I thought you'd want me
It's
off.
worth all the money in the world to keep him quiet.
yes, yeah. So, anyways, so where's a remez l'shnius min ha-Torah minayin? Where's there a remez for shnius in the Torah? Shenemar ki eskola te'evas ha'el asu anshe ha'aretz. All the bad things of in the land, they did hata'evas ha'el. Doesn't mean from Hashem, right? It means the bad. It means bad things that the people did. Ha'el kashas. The taich of ha'el means bad things, meaning strong, meaning it's a strong term for something bad. Mechlal di garachas. It's mashma that there are softer averos. Right? Ta'evas means promiscuity, relationships that you're not allowed to have. So it's from the pasuk. It's mashma that they did real bad. So it's mashma they did real bad, and there must be softer arayos too. Umay ninhu shnius. That's shnius. It's referring to shnius, right? So you could have bad arayos, and then you could have not so bad arayos. So the second level, second generation arayos, which is the rabbanon, is not as bad. Umay masher the ha'el lishna the kashahu. Where do you know that the word ha'el is a lashon of something being difficult or strong? Yosef, and they took, this is talking about by Nebuchadnezzar, and they said that they took the Elei, it's the strong people from the land.
What's the nafkamina between in punishment between the Rishon and the Sheni on the right?
The Rishons, it could be Karis or Isuri Deraisa Malka. Shnius is the Rabbanon. Shnius are all the Rabbanon. So yes, if you ever the Rabbanon, you chayim misa, right? But it's a misa b'dei shemayim. But the first level is can be Karis, it could be Lab, it could be Lab and Malchus, right? So anyway, so it's saying Ves Elei Aretz Lakach. So let me plead with Rav Levi. Let's say this disagrees with Rav Levi. Dom Rav Levi. And this is pretty scary because Shulchan Aruch mamish paskins like this. Kasha einshin shel midas, the punishment of measurements, of having illegal measurements, right, like non-accurate measurements. Yoisem einshin shel arayos. It's more than the punishment of arayos. It's quite interesting. Rabban, I thought about you with this today about before Pesach. If there's anybody price gouging, right? But I'm not being mekatrik, but if there are people that are doing that, it could be worse. The punishment could be worse than arayos, right? Yeah, I mean, he's saying
It's more money, but it's not as much fun.
That, I guess fun is relative. Yeah, some people enjoy making money. Some people do.
No, I'm saying it's more money.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't.
The Mahalach
Yeah.
this year was they raised the prices before Purim, so people don't notice when it comes Pesach. That's what I told was the Mahalach. No, I'm serious.
Yeah. Listen, whichever way it works.
They weren't counting on you, Doc. They knew they weren't counting on you.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I was told by someone in the business. That's what I was told. What's this year's plan?
Here, so I don't know if I don't want to be mekatrik chas v'shalom. I hope nobody's doing that. But I'm saying I don't know if that fits into midas too. But midas meaning midas measurements. But if you're ripping people off, that's also a form of financial fraud, right? So, anyways, the punishment is worse than the punishment of arayos. Shazen namar behen el. This one says el. Shazen namar behen eile, and this one says eile. Whatever it is, so you see that eile is worse than el. We just got finished saying that el is worse. So Gemara says el kasha. The Gemara gives a pasha to teretz. The word el means something difficult, bad. The eile kasha me el, and eile is worse than el.
So somebody who cheats on weights the sky of cars?
No, but I don't think it means a punishment from Bezdin because nobody knows that the guy had the improper weights. It just means whatever the punishment that Hashem is going to give is going to be worse than arayos, which means it's got to be pretty bad because arayos is pretty bad.
Arayos is cars, so it has to be at least minimum.
No, but not all arayos is cars. Some arayos are cars, some are not.
It doesn't differentiate.
No, it doesn't. But you can't say that somebody's gonna be chayiv kares for. I mean, and maybe it's worse than kares. Ultimately, I don't know. Now, I just have to say on my side, so from Chaim Kanievsky, because it has to keep looking at this Gemara. El should you pronounce it kel? Hakel. It's weird that the el. There's got to be a word on that. A machshava de gevor that el can mean something tough. So a wise guy once went over to Reb Chaim and said, "How can you say? Are you allowed to say ya in Yiddish? Because ya." Right, is Yud K, that's Hashem's name. Right, so the guy went to Reb Chaim and he said, I don't know what kind of schar this guy's going to get for wasting Reb Chaim's time, but okay. So he went to Reb Chaim and he said, can you say ya? So Reb Chaim looks at him and says, ya. Right, so that's fine. So anyway, so El here doesn't mean Hashem's name. Anyways, so Gabi Arayos, second wide line down. So Gabi Arayos Nami Hoksiv Eila. By Arayos, it also says Eila. So which one is the tougher one? Sahu l'meute midas mikaris. That excludes midas from karis, right? Like Zev, like what you're saying. Maybe it means that if midas is worse punishment than arayos, so that means maybe midas should get karis, right? So that's what the word eila is telling you, that no, you're not getting karis. And right, so then Gemara says elamai chumrayos. So then what's the chumrah? Right, Zev, I think this is what you asked. So what is the chumrah then about midas? So Gemara answers, Hani efshar b'tshuva, Hani lo efshar b'tshuva. These are possible to do tshuva, meaning for arayos you could do tshuva, but for weights and measurements you can't do tshuva. Right? Now what's a pshat? What's a pshat? You can't do tshuva because you have no idea who you ripped off.
Right.
So if you have, which I don't understand, if you keep good books, and then you should be able to go back. But I guess you don't, if you don't write down every customer.
I mean, what about nowadays where you have a computer system?
Yeah. No.
What do you mean?
So what if you have the computer system? So what?
No, I'm saying you can go to.
You set the tear wrong on the scale. That's all. You have to do one thing from 6 o'clock in the morning. You put the tear a 0.001 higher, and that's it. And you're making gold for the next 47 years.
Right. No, but the Maisa, you can look at the video cameras if they don't erase, or you could look through the records, and you can theoretically track every single person down. Maybe I don't know, but that is the pshat. That's what it means. That for arayos you can do tshuva, but you can't. But for other things you can. Now, we said arayos you can't do tshuva if you have a mamzer. If you have a mamzer, that's what the Gemara Chagiga said. Okay, so that the Gemara is going to ask. The Gemara is going to ask on Amud Beis. Right, but the bottom line is that you see that, I mean, you could do tshuva from arayos, and you can't do tshuva from ripping people off. It's quite a scary.
That's the little mussar shmooze.
That's definitely a mussar shmooze. That is definitely a mussar shmooze. And I have to say something else. So people think, like, for whatever reason in the bell, arayos is considered like mame. I mean, it is. Let's not kid ourselves. But you think that you can't do tshuva, right? You hear somebody was mazane. He had a. We're not talking about abuse and all that. We're talking about stama ma'ases nus. You could do tshuva. Bottom line is you could do tshuva. Now, what is the pet peeve here? Because unfortunately, when it comes to Zera Levatala, so because the Heilige Svarim get quoted by all the Rabbeim and a kid is nichsho, whatever it is, and they go crazy. They mamish go crazy as if they're gonna get Gehenim, and there's no tshuva, and there's no this and that, and it's a terrible zach. It's a terrible, terrible zach. If you could do tshuva from arayos, you could do tshuva from these type of things too. And no, the kids mamish go crazy, and then it just makes them totally obviously not. I'm not saying it's a heter, but the bottom line is there's tshuva for everything. Yeah, the Heilige Sfarim write these things about it. If anybody listened to the Shir from Yisrael Reisman, I gave it to Gershi once in one of his drives back post Siyum, right? It's
Is that the one he had the accident in?
No, Baruch Hashem. No, this is like going back, right? But whatever. It's an unbelievable shir to listen to about doing tshuva on these type of things. If anybody wants it, I could send a link. Either way, but this tshuva for these type of things. Fine. Let's see weiter. So that's one source for shnias from the Torah, right? Rabbi Yehuda Amar mehacha be'izen v'chiker tiken mashlim mishalim harbe. Right. So Shlomo Melech, as a pasuk in Keheles. So he made Izen v'chikar, and literally means Izen. Izen means he made let's say ear. An ear looks like handles, like an ear v'chikar, and he looked out to make many mishalim. Before Shlomo came, the Torah was like a basket that had no handles, right? And the meaning there was no way to hold onto it tight, right? And it would if you don't have handles on something, it's very hard to hold it. So the Torah is the mashal here is that the Torah is the basket, right? So and you can't hold on to it. So Shlomo Melech came and he made handles for it. He made the rabbanons in order to be able to keep the Torah better. So when you put handles on a basket, so you put something extra onto the isurim, and that will prevent you from being over. And that's where shnias comes from, to make it further distanced away for arayos.
I mean, until Shlomo Melech came, there was no Gedarim set. There was no Gedarim set.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, Shlomo was one of the things that he created. Was quite a few.
He was pretty early in the game.
Yeah, that's true, right? But Shlomo made Eruv Chatzeris, right? What else did he make? I don't remember, but whatever it is, that's what with that. The concept of making Gedarim to the Torah was created by Shlomo. Fine. Rabbi Shia Amar Mehacha, right? Pareu al Tavar by Setei Me Olav Ava. Right. So here is the pasuk is saying that you should pareu literally means to pay back, but don't pass over it, right? And stay away from it, and move further, right? So what it's saying is that you should expand on the Torah to be able to make protections and fences so that you don't end up being over on the actual Issa Torah, right? So that's what we add on to the Torah. So that's shnias, right? We're going to add on more averos, more illegal relationships. What's a mashal for Rav Ashi? Saying a person is watching his field, his pardes orchard, mishmar. If he stands outside and guards it, so the whole field is guarded. But if he stands inside, then what's behind him is going to, or whatever he could see is going to be considered guarded. But what's behind him is not. He can't see. So if he can't see it, it's not protected. Right? So therefore, you have to do, you have to put yourself in on the outside and not let anything in, and then you don't, then you'll make sure that nobody's going to be open. Meaning, if you put on extra protection on the outside, then nothing's going to come in. But if you let some things in and some things not, then you might end up, it's a slippery slope. Yeah.
I was thinking that the Mashgiach by Chol of Yisrael, might be better to watch it on a console, and you can get a full view of all the 100 cows rather than being inside the barn. And the guy could do something behind his back. He can't see the other rows.
You're saying that you want to say a video camera would be better because, the shaila is why you need the hashgacha. You need the hashgacha because just of mirsas.
Okay.
But that's right. So that's the whole shaila with the video cameras.
Okay.
Right?
Fine.
Yeah. So then the Gemara says, what Rav Ashi said, the mashal he said about standing outside the pardes is not true. It's not true. Hasam shalafanav miha mishtamer. There, at least what's in front of him, he's watching. Hacha, right? But here by arayos, ilav shnias. If you wouldn't have shnias, paga be'erba gufa, you're going to end up mamish being over on the erba itself, right? So meaning, don't make it. I'm not exactly sure what the kasha, what he's asking here, what he's not happy with the mushal, but it seems like so in your field, what's the big deal? So part of your field is not protected, but by arayos, it's more of an all or nothing type thing. Yeah, fine. So that's he don't like that mushal. Fine. Rav Kahana Amar Mehacho Shmartim is mishmarti. Also, mishmeres lemishmarti, right? You should watch my mitzvahs, right? So, meaning a double lashon of watching. Also, mishmeres lemishmarti. Do a watching to my watching. So Gemara says, Amarle Abayel Rav Yosef Hadaraisi. That's a pasuk that says to put up shmira on top of shmira is a daraisa. What he's saying is the rabbanon. So say daraisa who pierce rabbanon. Yes, it is daraisa, but the rabbanon are the ones who decide what's going to be to what they're gonna make as assur, sort of similar to Hilchos Chalamayid, right? The shittas that hold that Chalamayid is a daraisa, so it's up to the rabbanon to decide which one are assur, which ones are not. So the Gemara asks, Kol Torah nami pirshu rabbanon. The whole Torah is explained by the rabbanon. Without the rabbanon, the Torah is not understandable. So elam with the rabbanon. So we're saying no, it's a rabbanon. The cross smachta ba'alma. The pasuk is a smachta ba'alma. So really, it's a rabbanon to put up all these fences, right? But the rabbanon, but it's a pas. They're relying on the pasuk in the Torah that gives them the wherewithal to be able to put up these fences. Okay, so Tana rabbanon. Now, what are shnias? What are the levels of shnias? Right. So mahim shnias. What are shnias? So aim imay. That means the mother of Aim Imai V'Aim Aviv, so the grandmother, right? So meaning to sleep with one's mother is arayos, but to sleep with one's grandmother, that's the rabbanon. The grandmother side from the mother's side, side from the father's side. Now, the oilam is not going to like this, but can one hug their grandmother? Can a grandfather hug a granddaughter? Rabbaran, don't listen to this. Right? L'chayra, if midaraisa, you're allowed to marry your grandmother, right? Then pashtus is it should be assur to hug your grandmother. No? Because you can really marry her. The Rabbanon came and made a gezerah.
So the Rabbanon made it muttar to hug her. That's the.
So that's the shayla, right?
It works both ways. It works both ways.
And a chanami, so that's the shayla. No, really, that's the shayla. Do we say that it's totally this that you're not? Why are you allowed to hug your mother? Why is somebody allowed to hug a mother and a daughter? Why didn't the?
Because you get in trouble if you don't.
What?
Because you get in trouble if you don't.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, right? Okay, true. But
so why is a sister assur?
So one said that's a good question. So the thing
Hold
is
on one
like
second.
this.
Who said a sister's assur?
1 second, Naftali will get to
Rabbi
it. We'll get to
Radinsky.
it. Maybe, but he's
No, he didn't. He didn't tell his wife.
1 second. Okay, here's the story.
Okay.
Why are those arayos muttar? Why is a mother muttar, a daughter muttar? Right? Meaning why are they? Sorry, why are they assur? Right? They're arayos to you. Right? So what is it? What we're saying is that there's no taiva. There's no, because they're assur to you. There's a built-in no taiva for it. At least for those. Right? So Shaila is a sister. So Sister Shulchan Aruch says really it's muttar, but it's considered disgusting. To touch a sister in a loving way is really muttar, but it's considered disgusting. Right? So the Shaila is, so now when you have a grandmother, right? So is it pshat now that the Torah assur and now that the Rabbanon assur it? So since they assur it, so now Mamela, you're allowed to touch her. Or do we say no, Minat Torah, you can marry yourself. You can marry her, you're not allowed to touch her. Right? Whatever it is, there are those that say, I wish I had time to look it up before. I didn't. Of to say what says, but there are those that say one should not hug a granddaughter or I don't know about a grandmother. Yeah.
My wife, she went to Zevi's son Yitzhak to his ceremony when he became a San Khan 10 days ago. The best picture of all the pictures is when she's benching him. He has his beret off and she's benching him on the head. Yeah, that's the best picture. Yeah,
yeah, Baruch Hashem, right? So I guess she don't go with this. So and no, but the obviously the meaning in the Welt is that you do, but it's not really so simple. Imagine going over to somebody and say, by the way, Minat Torah, you can marry your grandmother. See how that goes over, right? But anyway, fine. So that, let's see. So the first two is Aim Imai Ve'aim Aviv. The next one is Eishes Avi Aviv Ve'eishes Avi Imai. That's the wife of the how do you call it? Grandfather's wife. Aside from the mother, aside from the father. Right? Meaning it's not his grandmother. It's the grandfather got remarried. Right? So from both sides. Ve'eshes achi ha'av min ha'em, and the wife of the father's, meaning the uncle from the mother, right? The mother's brother's wife. Ve'eshes achi ha'av min ha'em. I'm sorry, we said it backwards. Ve'eshes achi ha'em min ha'av, the mother's brother's wife, right?
No, it's the grandfather's wife.
I'm sorry, the grandfather. I'm sorry, the grandfathers, right? The grandfathers, right? And then Kalas Benoy, V'Kalas Bitoy, the daughter, his son's daughter-in-law, and the daughter's daughter-in-law, right? We're going to see what the pshat in that is. Muttar adam be'eshes chama, but a person is muttar to marry his father-in-law's wife, right? Meaning obviously that it's not from a different marriage. Not his mother-in-law, right? His father-in-law's wife is also Hasamid Rabbanan. I'm sorry, it's muttar. I'm sorry, that one's muttar. Ube'eshes chargoy. So a chargoy is a stepkid, right? So eshes chargoy. What?
What word did you use?
For chargoy?
Yeah.
Is a stepson, a stepchild. A chayrig. I think even modern Hebrew, right? They call a chayrig. No, I think they call a stepchild a chayrig, right? Ube'eshes chargoy. And the wife of his stepson, right? That's those two are mutter. V'asur b'bas chargoy, but he's assur to the daughter of his stepson, right? And when you look at the lashon, it just sounds like bas chargoy is. You might get confused which level, but it's his step granddaughter, right? The chargoy mutter be'ishtay ubitay. But your stepson, right, is allowed to marry his stepfather's wife and daughter, obviously after they're married, right, from a different marriage. Yeah, fine. Ve'eshes chargoy imereslay, and the daughter of the meaning they call it the stepdaughter-in-law, can say to him, Ani mutaras lach, can say to her stepfather, right? I'm muttar to you, but my daughter is assur to you, which we're going to see exactly what those cases are in a minute. Second Gemara says, Bas Chargoi Dairaisihi, your wife's daughter, right? I'm sorry, your wife's granddaughter, right? Your wife's son's daughter. Bas Chargoi means the daughter of your stepson. That's the Issa Dairaisa. The Chsiv, Es Bas Benov, Es Bas Pito. You're not allowed to take a woman's grandson or granddaughter, even if they're not your granddaughter, meaning your wife's a step grandchildren, you're not allowed to have. So that's arayos. That's Issa Dairaisa. So it says, no, since it wanted to say the Seifa, Eishes Chargoi, that the wife of the stepson can say to him, Ani mutaras lach, I'm muttar to you, biti assur lach, then but my daughter's assur to you, v'avagav the biti assur lach midaraisa, and even though my daughter is assur to you from the Torah, right? Because a step granddaughter is not allowed. But the Rabbanan did not make a gzeira on me, right? So therefore, since it said that, on a Reshanami Bas Chargoi, that's why it also said Bas Chargoi. But really, Bas Chargoi is not a sheni. Bas Chargoi is really assur min Torah. But because it was leading into the next sentence, so then that's why it said it. So the Gemara asks, but let the wife of the father-in-law say, Ani mutaras lach, right? I'm allowed to marry my son-in-law, stepson-in-law. Ubiti assur lach, but my daughter is assur to you because the havi achas ishta. Right? Her daughter is the sister of his wife. So meaning a fellow can marry his father-in-law's wife, but he cannot marry his father-in-law's wife's daughter. So the Gemara says, so why don't we say that sentence too? So when it says hapsikale, right, that was pasha to the Tana. So that's why he said it. Ha loipsikale, but the daughter of the father-in-law's wife was not so pasha to him. Meaning the granddaughter, the step-granddaughter not marrying the step-grandfather. Excuse me, that was pasha. But the daughter of the stepmother, that was not the pashut. So that's why he didn't say.
Means not pashut, or you can't paskin straight because this after his wife is nifter, she'll be muttar.
You mean because I don't mean pashut. You mean it's not permanent. That's what you said.
Right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's not psikale, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, psikale, thank you. Psikale means it's not pshat that it's not pashut, meaning it's not, once there's death, it's going to become muttar. So therefore, it's not going to be like that forever. Fine. Now, the way it works, as a hakdama for the next piece of Gemara, the way it works is that shnius assurs it forever. Meaning, what about a great grandmother? But I go on. I went up one too many. Great grandmother, right? So we said that a mother is obviously assur min Torah, a grandmother is assur shnius. What about a great grandmother? So that's also considered shnius. And then the great grandmother ad saif kol hadoros is all assur, right? Same thing with a daughter, a granddaughter, great-granddaughter. It's all assur. Those are all considered shnius. But the Gemara says there are 4 cases where it doesn't go forever. It stops after that first generation. So there's 4 cases. So Amar Rav, Arba Noshim, there are 4 women, Yeshel and Hefsik, that there's a Hefsik. I mean, they don't go forever, right? And so what are they? Naked Rabbi Yadei Tlas. And Rav said he got 3 of them. He says he knows that there were 4 of them, but he only knows about 3 of them, right? What are they? Eishes achi ha'aim min ha'av, right? That's the wife of the brother, the wife of the uncle from the father's side. Right? I'm saying Eishes achi ha'aim min ha'av. Right, that's the wife of the mother's brother from the father. Right, that's one. Ve'eshes achi ha'av min ha'aim. That's also the same thing, but from the mother's side. The kalasai and his daughter-in-law. Now, obviously, kalasai cannot mean that because kalasai, that's the issa deraisa and it goes forever. daughter-in-law, granddaughter-in-law, great-granddaughter. Those are all that. So, but those are those three. Uzeiri, Zeiri Mosif Af Eshes Avi Ima. Zeiri added even the mother's father's wife, where that's also you're not gonna be able to add on any more to that. And the simon for that is the Eloi the Rav, right? That he went one on top of Rav, because Rav said 3 and he went and added a 4th. But Rav, my time, why did Rav not include the grandfather's wife? So because what's going to happen is going to get mixed up with the grandfather's wife. So since it's going to get mixed up with it, so he wanted to continue the isurim for more generations. The Zeiri, what about Zeiri? He wasn't worried about that. Why not? He says an interesting rule here. Zeiri lahasam shchiach ba'azal. There, a person goes to his father's family more often, but he doesn't normally go to his mother's family, right? So since somebody hangs out with his father's family more than he hangs out with his mother's families, right? So then he's much more aware of all the relatives. Right, so he's not going to make a mistake to start thinking that his father's father's father, her wife is right. How does it go? The great grandfather's wife, right? Who's not your great grandmother. You're not going to confuse it because you're constantly there. You're there much more often, so you're not gonna get confused. But from the mother's side, where you're not around that family so much, so you don't. So if we're going to be muttar a great grandfather's wife. Right. So then, so then you're gonna start mixing it up, and then you're gonna start marrying other grandfathers' wives, whatever. And that's gonna be a problem. So therefore, they kept, according to Zeiri, they kept the issa. So okay. So now kalasoi, the Gemara says now on Talmud Beis kalasoi, dairaisihi. When he says your daughter-in-law was one of these ervas, that's a dairaisa. The siv ervas kalas chaloi segala. It says you're not allowed to be megala the erva of your daughter-in-law. Right, so how could it be that it's considered a shnius of arayos? When it says "ema kalas b'noi," no, what it means is the son's daughter-in-law, right? Which is a shniya. That's a second level, right? The assur from the Torah is the daughter-in-law, and then the chachamim assur the son's daughter-in-law. So when it says "v'kalas b'noi yeshla hefsek," does she have a hefsek? Meaning, does it stop with her? I mean, the next generation daughter-in-law is not going to be assur, right? V'atanya kalasai, when it says in the Bryce, it says kalasai erva, that is kala is an erva, kalas benoi shniya, and the kala of his son is a shniya. And then the same thing with the son, and the son's son atzaif kaladars, like we just mentioned, right? So daughters-in-law. Your son's daughter-in-law, and that daughter, and the next daughter, those are all also forever. So what are you saying that it ends by the shnius ends by the daughter-in-law? So Gemara says, Gemara says, makalas bitoy. It means the daughter's daughter-in-law. What is that? I heard this thing from a Gavra Rabba, Umanu Rabbi Ami, and who was it? It was Rabbi Ami. That loy asru kala el kala. He said a cryptic thing. He said they only assured a daughter-in-law because of a daughter-in-law. Right? So what does this mean?
Can I ask you a Byron question? Why couldn't he just say who he heard it from?
He heard from a Gavra Rabba.
He's a Chaim Melina.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, right? Yeah. Maybe he's a controversial figure.
Usually when you say Gavra Rabbis, I heard from Adam Gadol, usually it's referring to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but that's,
Or of Soloveitchik. Usually those two, right? So, I don't know. Maybe this was from the equivalent. But he says here, it said Rav Ami. It did say, here he said it. He said he heard it from a Gavra Rabba, and who was it? Rav Ami. So he said it. Anyways, so Loi Asru Kala Harim Ne Kala. V'amruli, now here's another interesting thing. V'amruli Kaldoi. So who the Kaldoi? So Rashi says, Kaldoi is the stargazers. Now, since when do we listen to the stargazers? Right? So he means he went to the, I don't know, he went to like an Atlantic City and he paid whatever.
Astrologers.
Astrologers, whatever. They say, yeah, they mean, since when do we do that? So it's Masha from this Gemara that's muttar. Right? It's only magic that you're not allowed to do, but those that look at the stars will be okay. So what about looking at palm reading? Is palm reading okay? Seems like by the Chassidim, the Rebbe's do
That's
it.
how it's done. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Your
saying so
hand
these.
in the sky and you're looking at the stars and your palm is there, then maybe.
I don't know. Where do you draw the line with this, right? I don't know. Okay, but wherever it is, it seems that it's mutter. But anyways, it's interesting because it seems like he spoke to the stargazer, but they only gave him half a story. Right? So he says, so he spoke to the Kaldai in Malpona Havis. They said that the stargazer told him, you're gonna be a teacher. Right? Chacham tiyeh. That's the way Rashi says it. You're gonna be a chacham. It's interesting. So a chacham, what is the type of a chacham? A chacham, I don't know if the way we touch chacham is the way it meant, because look at the next line. Amina, so I said to myself, if he meant by that I'm going to be a chosh of a person, a gavra rabba, asber medaiti, then I'm going to say my own svara, what this means, that a kala is assur, a daughter-in-law is assur because of a daughter-in-law. But but what it meant is that I'm going to be a teacher in a cheder, like in an elementary school, then Ashaylim Rabbanan, then I'm going to ask the Rabbanan that come to the basic Knesses. Right? So again, I don't understand what this means. So if he's going to be a Chacham, so then he's going to be a Talmud, then he's going to have the brains. But if he's only going to be able to teach kids, then he's not going to be a Talmud, the way Rashi's Lashon is, he's not going to be a Talmud. Then he's going to have to ask the Rabbanon. I mean, why did the two have to be mutually exclusive? Why can't you have a Talmud Chacham who teaches kids? Right? Just seems like the two are intertwined. I don't know. I can't understand exactly what this means. But his
Seems
point
to be
was,
talking to our generation. Every Rebbe, they don't go to their Rebbe. Every Rebbe seems to ask, well, it seems to have asked Reb Chaim, any little shiloh they have. It's not a Talmud. It's not Talmidim of Reb Chaim.
I understand.
So Rebbe is a Rebbe. It stops there. They don't have they're not a Talmud.
No, but it sounds like if he was going to be, he told him he's going to be a Talmud, a Chacham. He's going to be a Chacham. It sounds like there's two different types of Chacham. There's a Chacham who could say Pshat himself, and then there's a Chacham who teaches kids. If he teaches kids, he can't say his own Svara.
It's counterintuitive. A Chacham who's a Talmud Chacham, who has a Rebbe, has his own Svara. A Chacham who's a Rebbe, who's not a Talmud Chacham, doesn't have Rishus.
So you're saying, so if you're the teacher, then you can't say Svaras. If you're a Talmud, then you could say Svaras. Isn't that why you go to a Rebbe, to teach you Svaras? No?
Yeah, but it continues. It can't end it doesn't end. Either you remain a Talmud Chacham, then that's something. You're keeping to go in the right direction.
I hear. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure. This is I didn't have this clear exactly what was going on here. And also, once he spoke to the stargazers, they told him he's going to be a Chacham. So give me the whole story, right? Why didn't he tell him you're going to be a Chacham for kids or you're going to be a Chacham on your own? That much he didn't tell him, right? Okay, whatever it is. Anyway,
they always need a little out, just in case they're wrong.
So you mean you left it open? Okay, maybe. So anyways, the hashta svarasa midaiti. Now, obviously, he became a chacham, a Talmud chacham, right? So Mamela, he could say a svar on himself. They only assur the daughter-in-law of the daughter because of the daughter-in-law of the son, right? Meaning that it's really the main assur is the daughter-in-law of the son, right? And then, but because it's so similar, so then the Mamela, the Rabbanon came and added shnias, so that to the daughter-in-law of the daughter. So that's what it means. They assur the daughter-in-law because of the daughter-in-law. They assur the daughter-in-law of the daughter because you might come to marry the daughter-in-law from the son. Okay, so it's really a shlishis. It's
Because the original is Kalasai.
correct.
That's his son's wife.
Right.
Then
And
the
this
next
is-
one is his grandson's wife, because his daughter's husband is whatever, is not a gay.
Right.
So anything from the daughter's side there's no shaykhs to the deraisa.
Right.
They
Right.
made a
And what is the
shlishis
pshat?
out to the shnias.
And is there a pshat in this?
And what?
Why would a granddaughter from a son be assur midaraisa and a granddaughter from a daughter not?
It's not, neither of it deraisa.
No, granddaughter.
There's a
Sorry.
shnia.
I know. So I'm saying why is there a svara why they would assur one and not the other?
Yeah,
Same last-
because it's
same
Atu
last name.
Kalasai.
Same. It's the same last.
Yeah, basically,
Is
it's
that
that kind of idea.
You
but
follow
it's
you,
because
you
of
follow your
Kalasai.
father's last name.
is that what it is? I mean, the Gemara is going to say something similar soon, but is that
Yeah,
is that
The
the
one
svara?
later on says it's two marriages.
That's just the way I understood it, like from the prior daf, from the prior Amud.
Yeah,
I
so
figured
okay, so that's
the
very good.
cheshbon
Aaron.
why it's not so makbid.
Right. So the
Because
Gemara
you're used to your father's name, your father's cousins, etc. On the mother's side, it's lav dafki, you know them so
okay,
well.
so that the Gemara is going to say it soon, something similar. That's very good that you got that. That's pretty impressive. It's pretty good. Could air down there in Memphis, right? Or music or whatever
The
they're doing.
bourbon.
The bourbon. Anyway, so let's see. So let's finish it up. So I'm going to be mazur. Kigoin kalosa debei bar tzisoy. Again, something else I didn't understand here. I mean, not that it's mashra that the rest of the stuff I do understand, but like the daughter-in-law of debei bar tzisoy. That what? So Rashi says that he had a daughter-in-law from the son, and he had a daughter-in-law from the daughter, and they might get mixed up. What does that mean? They all lived in the same house? What does this mean? Isn't that a common thing to have a daughter-in-law from a son and daughter-in-law from a daughter?
Yeah, but that's the point. That's why they assered it.
I'm saying
You can't just
most-
assur
The
one.
Ritva says they lived in the same house.
You serious?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't make that up.
No, it's very good. Okay, okay.
Back in the day, they had many generations living in the same house.
It's like the Mexicans nowadays.
That's right.
Right.
They're still living back in those days.
Right.
Now I gotta change the setting on
This
the
is
YouTube
recorded.
video.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying he quotes the Ritva saying it's only assur in the case where they live in the same house.
But I'm saying, but then we make a gezerah for everybody because they may live in the same house, right? Okay. Rapapa Amar going kalosa debe Rapapa Baraba. Rapapa says it's like the daughter-in-law of Rapapa Baraba, and Ravashi Amar going kalosa debe Mari Baresik. So Taisa says these are just different people saying examples. I guess it wasn't so common back then for them to live and for everybody to live in the same houses. These were different examples of the same scenario. Okay, so Ibailu, they asked the Shaila.
So we had
Aishas-
another Papa case of them explaining the Machlokes.
Well, the two of them here.
Right. Explain.
I don't know if they were explaining the machlokes. They were just explaining a case. They weren't really explaining a machlokes. But as I hear your point, of thought. Yeah.
Is there
fine.
anyone here who says the Papa Baraba is Rav Papa?
I have no idea. That's your department.
No, because the Baba Kama is the same Lashon. Papa Baraba, there's a Machlekes Rishonim there, whether it's Rav Papa or some other.
But yeah,
Here, there's nothing.
I hear. I don't know. Fine. So Ibailu, Eishes achi ha'em min ha'em. The wife of the mother's brother from the mother. Right? Mahu. So what's the din? Right? Eishes, and then Eishes achi ha'av min ha'em. Same thing, but from the father's mother's side. So what's the din? The Eishes achi ha'em min ha'av. Right, and then the wife of the brother of the mother's brother from the father, the ikat tzad av, right? So in that case, where there's a tzad av there because there's a father there, kuda gazer rabbanon, that's what rabbanon made a gezerah. Aval hechet the lekat tzad av, where there's no father there, right? Because it was just mothers. It was the brother, the mother on the front, the mother's side from the mother. Like gazer rabbanon, then rabbanon didn't make a gezerah. There's no difference. So then finally the Gemara asks the kasha that everybody should have asked. right? So Omar Rav Safra, he gufa gezerah, v'nan negum niggas gezerah legezerah. This is a gezerah. Are we going to then go and make a gezerah on a gezerah? Right. So where was this kasha till now? Okay, all these things are gezerahs, and now you're making another gezerah and then another gezerah. So then why is this not a gezerah legezerah? So you would think you would just answer kula chada gezerah, right? That's the common answer when this happens. You just say, oh, it's all one big gezerah. But the Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says sort of like what Aaron's wife was saying. So Amar Rava, atu kulu lav gezerah legezerah ninu. Are these all not gezerah to gezerahs? Imay erva, right? The mother is an erva. Aim imay. The grandmother is a shniya. But gazru al aim aviv mishum aim imay, and they made a gezerah on the father's mother because of the mother's mother, right? The time of Mai. What's the reason? Kulu tevei ima rabasi korole, because since they're all called grandmother. Since they all have the name grandmother, so that's why they made them all assur. That's case number one. So all types of grandmothers are assur, even though it was really just the mother that's assur. Then they made the rabbanon of the grandmother from the mother's side, and then because of that, they made another gezerah of the grandmother from the father's side, right? Oh, so that's a gezerah. The gezerah was saying no, they made a gezerah against grandmothers, right? No being together with grandmothers. Fine. Next case.
I always found this lashon fascinating.
Why?
Ima Rabasi is literally grandmother. It touches to grandmother. It's not like we're saying
like a big mother, a big mother.
Great
saying.
grandmother.
Yeah. I hear. I didn't think about that, but you're right. Great. It's a great grandmother. So Eishes Aviv Erva. What about the wife of a father, right? Which is obviously not his mother. Eishes Avi Aviv Shniya, and then the wife of the grandfather is the second level. V'gazru al Eishes Avi Imay Mushum Eishes Avi Aviv, and they made a gezerah on the wife of the mother, right? The mother's father's wife, because of the father's wife. The time of my Kulu Debe Abba Rabba Karole, because they're all called the grandfather's wife. So since they all have the same name, so it doesn't make a difference if it comes from the mother, from the father, we're making it all awesome. Third case, Eishes Achia Avina Av Erva, the wife of the father's brother from the father's and Erva, Eishes Achia Avina Ein Shniya, and the wife of the brother from the father, from the mother, is a shniya. Right? They were making the gezerah from the father's side because of the mother's side. The time of my, what's the reason? From the kulu debate daidi karulu. They're all called from the uncle's wife. So any uncle's wife is going to be assur, even though it might be one is a daraisa, one is a shniya, and the third then there's a third, but it's all considered because they all sound like the uncle's wife. So the bottom line is, it's not a gezerah legezerah. So what is the din with these two cases that he asked about? Right, the Eishes Achia Aim and Aim. So Tashema, Techi Yasser of Yudah Bar Shila Amar, Amri Mamarava, Kol Shebin Nekeva Erva Bezachar Gazru al Ishtay Mishum Shniya. So there's a rule that whenever there's an Isha is assur, so whenever you have a wife that's assur, so then we're going to make a gezerah on a male who has that same relationship, same level relationship, but on his wife, right? So that's what it's, right? I mean, again, whenever a woman is assur, we're going to make a gezerah on the male that's there, that's also because of a male that has a wife of that same level, right? But now the Gemara says 3 places where we don't do this. Is this really a rule? It can't be a rule. If somebody's mother-in-law is an erva, Eishes chamav mutaris, but the wife of his father-in-law is muttar. So you see they're not connected. If your mother-in-law is assur, then the wife of your father-in-law should also be assur, right? But it's not. Bas chamaisay erva, the daughter of your mother-in-law, is assur because it's your sister-in-law. Eishes ben chamaisay mutaris, but the wife of the son of your mother-in-law is muttar. Bas Chama of Erva, the daughter of your father-in-law, because also your sister-in-law is assur. Eishes ben Chama mutaris, but the wife of the son of your mother-in-law is muttar. Chagarsai Erva, I said I think 3 cases, we're up to the 4th already. Chayragtai Erva, somebody who his stepdaughter is an Erva. Eishes Chargoi mutaris, but the wife of the stepson is muttar. Bas Chayragtai Erva, the daughter of the step-granddaughter is an Erva. Eishes ben Chargoi mutaris, the wife of the son of a stepson is muttar. So you see that just because the women are assur doesn't mean that the men that are married to the men that are married on that same level, their wives are assur. So fine. So what is Rabbi Yehuda Bar Shela coming to? So what's it coming to include? It's coming to include the wife of the mother's brother from her mother. The kol shebenekeva erva. Anytime you have something that's assur for nekeva, bezachar gazru ishta mishum shniya, then by a zachar would geyser the wife because of shniya. Fine. So that's what he's coming to include. So therefore it should also. Okay, so ma'ishnahani and ma'ishnahani, right? How come some of these women are assur and some of these women are muttar? So ha bechad kiddushin mekarabla. One, all you need is one marriage, and then that's going to become, then it becomes too close for comfort. Hani adika trei kiddushin loy mekarabla. But here, until you have 2 marriages, then that's when the relationship gets close. So therefore, in order to make it assur, there would have to be 2 marriages. So we're not going to make the gezerah on 2 marriages. If it's a 1 marriage, then we're going to make it assur, but not on 2 marriages. Fine. So shalach le'ramsharshi metusanya l'rapapi yilamdenu rabbeinu. Right? Rebbe teaches us eishes achi avi ha'av, the wife of the father's brother. I'm sorry, the grandfather's brother. Eishes achi avi ha'av. So that's a great uncle's wife. Right? Great uncle's wife. Va'achois avi ha'av, and the great uncle's, a great aunt. Right? Mahu, what's the din of that? A great uncle's wife and a great aunt from the father. What's the din? Midalamata erva, we're saying that the uncle is an erva, meaning the uncle's wife is an erva. So lamala nami goes, was it also going to make a gezerah on top of that, go up a generation? It's totally darasa. It's too much. It's already a second generation. A great aunt is not going to be the same as a regular aunt. So Tashema, Mahin Shnias, what a Shnias, like a Chashulu. They said the case of Shnias and they didn't mention these 2 cases. So the Gemara says, ton of a shire, it's not a proof. Maybe they had cases and they left it over. So my shire, the high shire, what did they leave out? Meaning there's a rule that when we say that a Mishnah leaves something out, it has to leave something else out too. We can't just say it left out one thing. It has to leave out a couple of things. So what did it leave out? Shire, Shnias, the Reb Chia, the Bei Reb Chia. It left out the Shnias of Reb Chia. The next time, Reb Chia is going to have 6 more cases of Shnias that he said it's assur. Fine. So Ameimar, Achsher Be'eshes Achi Avi Aviv, but Ameimar said it's kosher, it's muttar. Uba'achois Avi Aviv, and for the great aunt, meaning the great aunts, he allowed. Samali Rav Hillel Rav Ashi L'didi Chazile Shnias Marbrei D'Ravna. I saw a list of Shnias for Marbrei D'Ravna, Uksiv and Shisri L'Isura, and he wrote down 16 second level isurim. My love, Timni Demasnisa. He must mean that there are 8 from our brisa that we learned tonight on Midalife. The shis, the Bei Reb Chia, and 6 shnias that Reb Chia added. And then you have these 2. So hashisri, so you have 16. So you see, there must be that they're also not shnias. So Gemara asks, well, tamech shivsri haven, they should really be 17. Why? You have the wife of the brother from the mother, from their mother. The Pashtin L'Isura that we said is also, shouldn't that be 17? So when it says Halei Kasha, that's not a Kasha. Now, Hanach Tarti, the Dami Ladadi Kechad Chashvulu, the 2 that are similar to each other are considered 1. So when it says, so you have Shisri, and then so therefore you have 16. So Gemara Hamikamachim L'Didi Chazim L'Deksivan L'Isura. But either way, I saw the list and there were 16 isurim. So either you're going to have 15 or 17, but not 16. So and according to you, if he would have, if the list would have sent them would been have a terim, not isurim, would you be simach on it? The Marbe Ravna, did he sign on it? Right? It just was a list. Now that it's written for Isra, Lav Marbe the Ravna Chasam Alayu, did he didn't sign on them, meaning this was a list that he had. Maybe it was a Havamina, maybe it wasn't necessarily a Maskara. So therefore, you can't bring a raya that it was or was not on the list. It's inconclusive. Because just because you find a list inside a rabbi's Gemara or Shulchan Aruch doesn't mean that it's his, that he signed off on it. Okay, I mean it's a little cheshbaini for this, but okay. The basic chazar of the concept is that the Chachamim, when they felt that there would be confusion over which relatives are assur, so then they assured the next generations. And then once they did that, so anything sounding familiar is going to become assur. So any grandmother is going to be assur, any aunt is going to be assur, and that type of thing. That's the basic rule from what we have here. Okay, we'll stop over here. Ooh, it's late. It's 10 o'clock. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to call another Rabbaran audible, but I'm not sure why the Chachamim thought this would be confusing for everybody. It's pasha clear, mamish, like no tomorrow for me.
You don't feel like you've been on the teacup ride at some theme park?
I never thought I would say that, it's so late at night, there's no way I can understand this, but I don't think it's the time that's really doing it.
Until about 10 years ago, this was completely unrelatable. My cousin got married, and her husband's grandfather had recently gotten remarried. He was 79, his new wife was 37. So it makes it a little more relatable. Not talking about 3 generations older.
One second. So
Simon turned this video on for this one.
I like hearing about chlorine in the gene pool,
I'm saying, listen, what do you call it? Didn't we just have, who were we just talking about on Shabbat? Oh, was it? No. Somebody was just saying, how many 19-year difference between his grandfather and his grandmother? Somebody was just saying that.
I don't know, but Simon, you got something touching your mic.
I muted him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you realize that was me this morning.
What do you say?
You realize that was me hanging like a meshugana.
Doing what like a meshugana?
I was hanging like a meshugana. Nobody can wait like extra 2 seconds when somebody's getting to the car, so they go crazy in the morning.
Oh, you?
Yeah, I see.
This morning, I know it was you. I said hello to you.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you realized it was me. Some guy meshugana
driving down the block. What was I realize?
Oh.
I saw you coming flying down the street. I was like, who is this guy flying down the street?
No, because I'm telling you, in the morning, it's impossible. If you wait 2 seconds to somebody, you get hung like a meshugana here. It's not normal.
Let me tell you. I don't know why I don't put speed bumps on my streets. I should. Between BBY and TAG and all these ladies driving late, and oh man, it's mamish pikuach nefesh. But
Miss Seder.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Good night.
All right, have a good one. Yeah.
I don't understand the answer they gave halfway through the daf, where there was confusion because they spent more time with the father's family.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was surprised nobody spoke up on that.
I didn't want to, because I knew it was going to be like a long daf, but like, what a silly answer. I hate to say it in such a chutzpah way, but like, what a silly answer. You couldn't tell the difference between your father's family, your mother's family. You're going to get confused. What the heck are they talking about? Because I spend more time with my parents and my in-laws? Like, what the heck?
Could be one of those things that's very different today.
I don't care how different it is. There's no confusion. There shouldn't be any confusion when you have. this is my aunt from my wife's side versus my side.
I'm not good at mishpachology, and I can tell you that once you get past cousins, there's a lot of them I don't know. But on my father's side, I can know a couple more than my mother's side.
Yeah, but you're not. I hate to say it in a crass manner, but you're not climbing into bed with this person without doing some type of what do you call it? Genealogy.
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen to your family relationships if you try that, but no, I hear.
No, that's
what you're
true.
saying.
But if they're considered, if back then they considered the father's family, and not the mother's family.
Gershon, just Lamaisa, if they're marrying someone and they didn't even ask who their parents are or anything like that, that is not something that I would suggest anytime.
Well, they didn't have a shidduch dating system. They met someone in a bar back then. That's how they dated.
Well, yeah, that's what they went some roadside in. Rav Ashi and Rav Ami sitting knocking back vodka. What are you talking about?
I don't know about Rav Ami and Rav Ashi, but the general Hamayinam were probably closer to Alabama than New York.
Dude, where do you think all these silly shidduchim things came from?
Which shidduchim things?
That's what they used to build marriages back in the day, just like we do in India. It was all set up by the parents and the grandparents. Adarabba.
When are you talking about? 100 years ago in Europe, or 1,000 years ago in
bars? What are you talking about? The men bars. It was all set up by family.
When? Who?
Even before the Shoah, after the Shoah, I can't tell you. I don't know.
Well, listen, you have these rebbes sometimes. He says the Rebbe's granddaughter, the Rebbe's great granddaughter is marrying the Rebbe's great grandson. Skver has that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they know what. Yeah, but they know what they're getting into. Zayd is the Rebbe. Like what? I have an issue with like. It's so. I mean, it sounds silly almost. Oh, I don't spend enough time with my mother-in-law, or my wife's parents. So, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not saying straight back to Simon. If this is what doesn't make sense to you, you're in a good place.
I'm not so sure.
This is the only thing.
Yevamos has been over my head almost completely. So whatever. When we start
this is finally one place you can say the Tzara doesn't make sense, not just the cases.
I'd rather the Tumah Tahara talk.
Yeah, you're more at home with it. Listen, I get it.
Yeah. You know me, Mr. Tumah Tahara.
No, you spend more time learning the Mishnayos.
You should know how, and this is one Masechta that I see. Learning the Mishnayos first would have been very, very helpful.
Oh yeah.
I know. I've been on a big Mishnayos kick for the last several months. Anyway, it's solid. I'm sorry, Tiago. Before you go, my wife and I are thinking about coming in for Shavuos. That's why I was asking. So if you guys could figure out when you're going to do it or where you're going to do it, because I have trouble walking. Right. So, I'd preferably like to be around where Shavuos night's going to be.
If I'm a betting man, it's going to be in the tent.
Yeah, he's on Harris.
Aaron?
Yeah. He's on Harris, the one by Dowdy and Empire.
Yeah, that's not far. That's not.
No, I'm asking. I forget where Harris is.
Right before.
Parallel to Dowdy.
New McNeil.
Yeah, so where Zev Bald lives.
Exactly. Right across
the street.
Okay, fine. Because I knew he lived on Cornega or something like that before. So
right around the corner from where you used to live. Yeah. Big corner. Yeah.
Right. So that's So then that's. I think that should be doable, no?
Yeah, no, it'll be doable certainly. I just want to I have to kind of play around with that. My wife wants to stay by
By where?
by Glen and Sagid.
That's far.
That's fine. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have places to go. I just want to, we have options.
We could always wheel you, Simon.
No. Come on, I'm new to being a cripple, so you gotta.
Hey.
Gershon, you come together. Listen, we'll get you guys come together. We'll get like a limousine.
If we came together, it would be a complete disaster. Why do you think every time I ask him if he wants to come for one of the yibum, he says, no way, ain't going with you.
No, I can't do that with the woven stuff. My brother-in-law does that when he goes to Chicago. In, out, pop. I can't move that fast anymore.
I hear you. All right.
So we'll
all right, Yashikaya.
Simon, we're looking forward to having you.
Thank you. Selling chametz. What's the story?
Selling chametz. You email me.
Yeah.
I'll text you how to do it.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Have a good night.
Yaakov.
Yes, sir.
Mitzvah Shem coming in for Shabbos. How often can I make the bracha? Shasali Nes.
I think every 30 days.
Every 30. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but is this 30? Will it be 30 days?
No, but it's the first time. Does that matter?
I'm not sure. I'll try and check.
I'm assuming it would only be on the way back, not the way there, because I won't be able to see it.
Because because it's separated. Yeah.
Yeah. The trees in between.
Yeah. On the way back, it won't be 30. Nah, it's not going to be 30 days.
But it's the first time. I thought.
Right. I'm not sure. I'll check.
All right.
Okay. Have yourself a good night.
Man, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.